I'm looking to do is basically get your hands to the mat or some form or fashion where I can either weave one of my legs around or the inside positioning, air quote so, right? And you see I have tucked underneath on the other side, preventing you from being able to close off this inside space, aka tuck your elbow, so I could replace with either hand. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. So now if I replace with the other, I can easily break you down, or I could simply just push and roll, right? Leaving us in the crucifix position, right? And you see how my top foot versus, top foot here is more for pulling.
Yeah.
And this is for pressing.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So here, if my hips, you see how my hips are kind of like to your shoulder?
Oh, yeah.
I can always close this space and shift. Because you won't move, but I can.
Yeah.
So now you see how my hip is right behind your head?
Yep.
Can you drive your head effectively this way? Not until my hip turns, right? Can you effectively get your head underneath me?
No.
Right? No, because my hip is covered.
Yeah.
Right? So if I don't want you to be able to drive forward now. You see how me just slightly turning my leg does all that difference?
Yeah.
Because I'm pushing the hip into them, right? Now, for that kind of like pressuring here, you can always pass the hand up as well. I do not recommend it, but you can. But if they're driving forward, you can also pull the hand. So try to drive your head.
Yeah.
Can you effectively drive when I do that?
No.
Right. So I'm turning the hip, and then I can just drive like this if I want to keep. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Cool. So now we've established that we can hold this positioning, right? One of the first things that I'm going to do if I want to get in that type of like crucifix / leg over positioning, you see how I'm going to pin this?
Yep.
Press that head, step over. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, if I want to keep that hand, I can, but what I'm looking to do, you see how I'm like curling my foot behind and able to tuck it behind my own heel. So even here, you feel how I could squeeze that and add a lot of tension on one side, but the problem is you still have the other side, correct?
Yep.
Now, how do I alleviate that? And I either straighten my leg, or I come over and I pinch that space, utilizing this leg to capture that side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so on that, if I'm trying to capture this side, because this hand should be being pressed down, reset for you. All right, we'll go in here, press over, pull the heel behind the shoulder, right? And if that is not like effective enough to close the space, right? We can always kind of lift this and then try to crash this foot, right? We can go underneath, or we can crash it as in like bringing this shoulder closer to the neck, then locking up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. I find that this has the least amount of success, so I often just keep the Kimura lock and then go to the scissor choke, right? And from the scissor choke, I'm just going to tuck my heel underneath my other foot. Now, if you try to grab my heel or anything like that, it doesn't really work, right? And I don't straighten like most people do. They straighten their leg, and that will cause tension, right? I just kind of turn my hip down. Do you see how that has the same effect? Yep. So now I don't have to be straight-legged where I can expose my knee, my heel, and stuff like that. I can be over here and I can just turn up. Do you feel that?
Yep.
Now, once I put tension on the bottom foot, does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. And you see how all that is with knees to the jaw, basically, right? One knee is here, one knee is the back of the head.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, let's give it a try. I'm gonna stay right here. Okay, so we're here in the chancery position / crucifix, right? So when I'm capturing, I can always grab the wrist, control the head, step over, right? And I already told you about tucking the head or the heel, right? And you see how I'm basically already underneath the shoulder. Now when I cross over, see how easy it is for me to figure 4 and tuck my own foot underneath it, right? Now, even if I don't do anything and I just do that, you can feel how it chokes you, right? That's because my heel is on the other side, right? Now I'm triangling you without an arm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say I can't get it because you got a super small neck. I'm gonna straighten my leg a little, but I won't straighten my legs like this. This is a choke, but it's not. I don't find this one to be as effective, in my personal opinion, because you do this, you can do a slight rotation, you get it, right? Cool. Tucking your feet kind of closer to their head, right, allows you to basically try to build up to your elbow. Do you feel that? So, I don't find great success like this, because you see how your head turned and everything like that? Now it's exposing your carotid, so I can still get it, right? But what I'm having less success with when I do that is the ability to come up on my own and to build up. You see how I can even swap my legs? I can open it, and then I can tuck this one, which is now the under leg, like so. Now, I could drive entirely down if I chose to do so, or I can keep rotating, right? Pressing, I'm gonna let go of your hand for your own wristy safety, right? But you see how I could literally keep going, right? And if I stay tight, locked up, you see how your back gets picked up?
Yep.
Now, I'm holding the shoulder, right?
Yep.
Can the shoulder pads leave? Right? So they can't leave. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on that so far? Okay. Seems relatively simple. I'm actually going to do the same thing on this side, from a different angle. So you want to lay flat for me?
Yep.
Face it. Here, roll over, tuck behind, like so, right? We can just ditch this, figure 4 here, closing, right? Straighten, or tuck and roll. So, also a pretty common way of getting into a scissor choke is from any kind of key lock. So like let's say I was in side control, right? And I start feeling the elbow. You see how your body is starting to turn sideways?
Yep.
Right, so I'm gonna basically trap and step over. You see how I have, anytime that I can split someone's body, or like this fashion, right? The further I get higher, right, we can already tell that where are my feet, right? So we're gonna accomplish that same goal, right, on any type of side control where we could pull an elbow towards us, causing that type of rotation, right? So here, boom. See how I've stepped over? Yeah. I can cover the head. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, one should be doing like things like attacking the key lock and stuff like that, but looking at this in isolation, right? I can obviously go straight into this one, or if this hand is still in there, right, I'll pinch it towards me, lock up, and do the same kind of triangle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what you're looking for, let's say I'm in side control and this elbow either leaves the ground, right, and comes to press on me or something like that, like so, exactly, and I can just kind of come pop it, right, or I am pulling it myself, or I'm driving it up, right, which allows me to cause this type of rotation, where I can split your body. But you see how I end up in this like north-south position, right? From this north-south position, I'm literally just putting my legs to your body. See how my knee is to your chest?
Yeah.
Now if I drive it down, you feel that? Okay, so here, we'll collect it, and if I simply put my knee to your chest, this is already kind of shitty, isn't it? Right? Now, I can lock it in, right? We talked about driving that knee to the chest. No, I'm just gonna keep tension there, right? And now I'm gonna either start to straighten, right? Start to rotate up, or we'll go back to the straightening of the legs entirely. All right, so we have flexion, or whatever the fuck you wanna call it, tension in the legs,
Yep.
right? Rotation, pressing, or less common one, you can take that bottom knee and try to rotate backwards. I do not recommend this one, but you can, in fact, do this.
I see why.
Yeah, it's kind of shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you'll want to do this one. Let's say that you grab my heel, right? And you are pulling, right? And you're like, oh, I'm not getting that kind of.
Yeah.
How effective is your pull mechanism now?
Not good.
Right? And I can always replace too.
Yeah.
Does that make sense though, from the side control? Perfect.
Other side, it was when my head was down near your hip. It felt like that would sink in really fast.
So this will only be fast if the person who's putting it on understands how choking works. So choking works from this or this.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes when people scissor choke, they're trying to do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna squeeze the shit out of it, and they start like this, but then people turn a little bit, so then they start doing this, which will work because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not really a choke.
Yeah.
Or a strangle, I should say.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Is it a kind of like a triangle where if you cut the angle, it's a little bit better?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you talking about cutting the angle for the person who's choking, or the person who's trying to escape?
No, for the person who's choking.
No.
So like if you're
Actually, the more
Like
teed
you
off
were.
I am, so tees are always like a dominant position.
Yeah.
But because like the mechanism is like a straight limb.
Yeah.
Right. I'll lay down for me. So, as we were talking, even in that scarf positioning, right? If I'm losing it, what's happening? I'm more teeing off on your body.
Yeah.
Right. So now, while that's happening, I can do the submission. Right.
Right.
I can do the submission. This is better, isn't it? Look how much I'm underneath your neck.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So the more teed off I am, the better. Now, let's just say I'm out. This still works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? But that's because I'm teed off. Imagine I'm like this.
Oh yeah.
This is nothing. Right?
Yeah.
So that angle works because I'm here. Right? And because I can drive both. Does that make sense? Like I can lift my knee, I can tuck this one, I lock them up, right? And then I can just drive my heels if I chose to do so. I can rotate and I can straighten. I can do all three, right? But that's because of the angle of our body, right? Imagine I tried to do this scissor choke like this.
Yeah.
So, if it was like a triangle, am I not more teed off, technically?
Right.
But it doesn't work like that. It works better the further I get away into the tee. Sorry, I shouldn't have said teed off. Am I not angled?
Right.
Because on a triangle, I want to almost get as close as possible.
Yeah.
So if let's say I have a triangle, we'll just steal it, or this way.
Yep.
Right. Is it not better for me to be closer than leaving?
Right.
Right? So if I'm here doing this kind of reverse triangle, if I could put my body onto this side, that's what I'm looking to do, right? Shh. You feel how tight that gets once I'm able to cause that kind of tension, right? But it gets less the more I tee off.
Right.
Now, that being said, I can still make this work very effectively now, right? Why? Because now I'm doing a different type of motion. You feel how much tension gets put on your jaw that way?
Yeah.
Now a very strong choke.
Right, but uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Gives you time to do other things, especially with this hand that's sitting free over here.
Yes. So, that like teeing off and that flexion is going to be a good spot to be able to like recognize. And again, knowing that you can only do this if you're splitting the head.
Yeah.
So, as you just saw, I can do this with my heels. A place to look at that would be if you've got the arm, right? And let's say you're losing it right here. You see how I've got this?
Yeah.
And that is where straightening is more powerful. Does that make sense?
Just because you're farther down on that levered point.
Well, so rotational, it's not closing very much or having a lot of effect because what's stopping me is your shoulder.
Yeah.
Right now, if I was hands free like this, that's perfectly fine. Right? I can obviously get it because I can rotate for fucking ever.
Yeah.
The problem is, when would you ever find yourself in this position?
Right.
You won't. You'll only find yourself in this position if you're like this.
Yeah.
This makes sense, right? You choy bart someone or something like that and they roll over and you're like, hey, I've got this. But then they were like, the fuck you do? And they connect their hands and you're like, oh, I'm not breaking this. Cool. Boom. You're like, it's all right. I don't need to break it. You're just going to go sleep.
Yep.
Does that make sense? And you see how I'm still having that tightness in my legs, right? So, obviously you can do it with your heels, just your heels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm literally just going to support it, blocking that side, and I'm going to chop it off on the other side, and I'm just going to cause some reflection.
Easier to lose this one though, right?
Very, just two apology. Anyway, so yes. However, when we say easy to lose, it's easy for them to address the top leg.
Right.
If they address the top leg, we break their arm. This is just like why we pair the Kimura with the scissor choke.
Right.
So, Kimura, go ahead now for my side control. So the reason why people use the Kimura, right? Boom. Where am I going? Where am I going? I'm trying to get the Kimura set up. I'm like, oh, cool, I got the Kimura set up, right? But I can't get you to get this fucking hamstring. I'm like, cool, right? Now, you either have to address the choke, right? Which, how would you do? You'd let go, cool, right? Boom. Now I've got the Kimura, right? So this is like the two submission dilemma, right? This is what we're looking for, right? Because if they don't address my choke, they're gonna go to sleep, right?
Yep.
If they address the choke, I'm gonna start tucking their hand away, and even if I lose it, right? Where? I'm in a much better Kimura position.
Yeah.
With where your hand is. Hello. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the same thing is true right here. Does that make sense? Like, oh, I'm gonna break this dude's arm. He starts to defend really well, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna choke him out. He goes to relieve that pressure. I broke his arm, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for the two dilemma.
Yeah.
He gets to choose which submission he wants. He want to go to sleep? He want to get choked out? Or does he want his limb broken?
Yeah.
Right? So we're not attacking scissor chokes by themselves. When you ever see me do a scissor choke, crucifix positioning, things like that, where there are multiple submissions.
I was gonna say, because it opens up stuff a lot.
Exactly. So we don't use scissor chokes for anything other than to cause the dilemma.
Yeah.
If it's your primary thing, you're trolling people. Which, fucking do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. But, like, that's not...
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the go-to.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to steal you for the heel one again. Okay. So, just as I was saying, We can do it with the heel. Anytime that I can split someone's head, this is where I can get it. Does that make sense? So you see how I split the head? This type of scissor choke is very evident that it works, right?
Yep.
That's tight, right? This is done, again, with flexion. Feel the tension, right? And slight rotation or extension. I don't want to extend because it's far more comfortable, right? So again, don't limit it to being like, oh, he showed it where it was tucked behind the head, right? And like this is no different than if I was like, you can scissor choke people.
Yeah.
Right? That's a baseball bat choke.
Yep.
Cool. If I can baseball choke you this way, I can baseball choke you this way,
Yep.
any kind of paper cutter, all the same thing. Makes sense?
Yeah.
You are ready to give it a try?
Can you show me how to get into that one more time?
Yes. In fact, I will show you from probably the most common way of getting in that is a choi bar.
Okay.
Do you remember how to do a choi
No,
bar?
I've never done it.
That's okay. So we're gonna turtle.
Okay.
You want to turtle for me? I'm gonna be in guard. Okay, so choi bar. Let's say I was trying to attack over here, right? I'm going to work over, right? You see how I fed this leg underneath?
Yeah.
Right? Now when people roll, which is what everyone does, boom, they roll.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when people roll, this is probably the most common, right? Where I want to tuck my foot behind their head, right? And I'm looking to break their arm still. They're going to try to defend it, right? And I'm like, cool, you're still going to go sleep. Does that make sense?
If they get there, if they block this knee before,
Block what? What are they blocking?
plus some sense, like if they get this in here before, does that make it a lot more difficult to finish?
I'm arm barring someone, so I should be connected to that hand. So how on earth should they be able to fill that space?
I guess not.
But let's say they can fill that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So I say I can't be like, oh, well, straightening is going to work great. Right? No, because that means that it's in between it. Well, rotationally works great.
Yeah.